Good morning. Good morning. There are people here. Because the spotlight shining straight at me, I can't see. I always like talking right after these economists because they come up here and show you so many slides with so much of information and graphs that I know you all don't understand. You all just look at me, right? So after that, everything I say sounds very funny. So Amanda said she was going to give me an hour, and I said, I really don't need 1 hour, I just need 20 minutes. She said, okay, 20 minutes of information, 40 minutes comedy. Is that alright? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. We hear so many things now. Some people say things are good, some people say things are bad. Some people say the market's going to crash, some people say the market's going to recover. Some say price going up, some say price going down. You know, it is my opinion that there is not a single person alive who knows or is able to predict what is going to happen. So this entire talk here really is just my opinion, and if you ask someone else to come up here, they would say something completely different. Everything's going wrong. I use this slide for a purpose. Normally I have a slide that shows it's okay, bright sunshine, but I use these dark clouds to give you a bit of an idea as to that the dark clouds are looming like that. It's a bit of drama. But this is a tough crowd. Tell the cockroach joke, yeah. Okay, let's look at what investment opportunities are. Everybody here, most of you are practicing estate agents, so really I don't need to tell you so many things. I just want to point out a few things that has become very obvious to me so that you understand. You look at the newspapers and you see all kinds of reports that it's very, very difficult to predict what's going to happen, right? Now, one day you hear that EcoWorld eyes more land. EcoWorld is going strong, very aggressive. They expect to have great growth, so they have very aggressive stance. And then the next day you see a report that says 70% drop in real estate investments. And then you panic and you say, oops, what did yesterday's report say completely something different from today's report? And then you hear OSK property aims high in 2016. They're going to break their earlier records, and they got so many billions in sales. And then the next day you say residential prices in the Klang Valley rise but at a slower pace. So by now you're really confused and you don't know what to believe anymore. And then you see, sorry, this is a wrong slide. This is a slide for my talk at Bukit Aman this afternoon. So this is the wrong slide, okay? And then you say, SP said they are going to roll out a couple of townships. So all gung ho. Oh, that's the wrong slide too. But I wonder how that happened. And then 2 days ago, Dato Sri Iskandar, the president of REDA, said property outlook for 2016 going to be bleak. They had a forum, and there were 6 people in the forum, and all 6 people actually said 6 different stories. So sometimes you wonder whether they were all in one forum or they were in 6 different forums. So everybody's unsure. We're looking at situations where no one quite knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? And then if you think that property, the market is really bad and everything is, people are negative, how do you explain all these great big deals that were done in 2015? And 1 billion Integra Tower, 1 billion, Doubletree, 388 million. The French embassy land went for a record of 900 million. The German embassy land went for another record price. So amazing. This shows a lot of aggressiveness and a positive stance from investors and developers. So it's very difficult now to understand anything at all. So maybe what we need to do is we need to just look at how the market has behaved in the last 3 or 4 years. You can see from 2011, if you can see it from the back there, you can see from 2011 right up to 2013, 2011, 2012, 2013, you see transactions going down every single time. And the biggest drop has been from 2012 to 2013, where it dropped a whopping 10.9%. That's almost 11% drop. But unfortunately, the values didn't follow. The values just kept going up. 137 to 142 to 152. And then in 2014, for the first time in 3 years, we saw a slight improvement from 381,000 sales to 384,000 sales. Very small improvement, but the value went jumping up again. And we all thought that this was perhaps a sign that the dip was over and maybe we were leveling out and hopefully going to rise a little bit. We were concerned that 2015 would be a bit slow because of the GST. So there was always some concern that the first 3 months would be slow because of the GST and the next 3 months would be slow because people are adjusting to the GST. But that didn't really happen. If you look at the first half of 2014 versus the first half of 2015, you actually find that in 2015, values went down for the first time since 1998. The last time the values went down was in 1998, and then we had a great bull run, right? And then we had the super bull run in 2010, 2011, 2012. Values went down by 3.4%, and volume went down by 3.4%, and value, whether you like it or not, it's time to accept it. Value went down by 6%, 6.6% total value in the first half of 2015 compared with the same period in 2014. If you analyze only residential, which forms the largest part of the market, residential forms about 65% of the market in Malaysia. If you analyze residential, you will find that volume went down by 2%, 2.6%, and value went down by a whopping 9.7%. That's nearly a 10% drop in value. So we always say that property prices are not coming down, it's not coming down, it's not coming down. That's wrong, because these figures are from NAPIC, and the total quantum of the first half is minus 9.7%. So this really is a little bit worrying for real estate agents, for us, people in the industry, because we are not looking at a situation where not only the volume is coming down, but the value is coming down as well, right? And if you analyze these figures against 2014 and you break it down, this is courtesy of Knight Frank. If you break it down to all the different sectors, you will find that volume is negative for every sector, and value is also negative for every sector except agricultural. Every sector is a negative. So what has happened is, in the first half of course we got the figures for the third quarter now, but we don't have figures for fourth quarter yet, so we just analyzed half. First half of 2015 was actually a complete disaster as far as the property market was concerned. If we take the number of sales, let me show you where the problem really is. If you take the number of sales and you break it down like this, you'll find that this huge big tower here is residential, which is 65%, 64, 65% of the market in any given year. And all the other sectors are so small. This is fine, it's okay. Everywhere in the world, the residential market is the largest, and rightfully it should be so. But I think in our country, in Malaysia, it's a little bit over-skewed towards residential. If you take just this residential and you break it down further, you find exactly where the problem is. And I'm glad that my analysis is exactly the same as the analysis of the speaker earlier, where he said that the biggest problem lies in the condominium and apartment sector. So see this one, everything else is relatively manageable. This sector here is completely overbuilt, in my opinion. So when we and I think that negative 9.7, a lot of that negative 9.7 has been focused on this one, because I don't see any of the other properties coming down at all. I think it's only this one condominium, high-end condominium, the 500,000 to about 750, 800,000, that range is grossly overbuilt. and that's the range that is going to suffer really very badly. My graph a bit easier to follow than the earlier graph. Knight Frank did a commercial sentiment survey, and it's very telling what this survey did. They got into 700 respondents, REIT fund managers, developers, and bankers, and they had a bit of a survey. I summarized it. There are a lot of info on that one, but I summarized it. Favorable factors. These respondents say the favorable factors for the Malaysian property market are the MRT and infrastructure, which we can all agree is good. They say that we've got good stock and investment. I'm not sure if you can read it. They say good stocks and investment opportunities, and they also talk about the availability of funds. And don't mistake this availability of funds to the fact that more than 50% of people who applied for a housing loan last year got rejected, right? I think those were rejected for various different reasons. This one we're talking about investment opportunities. Now the negative factors they mentioned was, the number one negative factor they mentioned was the political scene, which we all know is adding on to the current perception problem that we have. GST is another problem. The slowing economy is a problem. Cooling measures, the cooling measures that has been imposed by the government has actually, it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. Unfortunately, what they do is, every time there's a problem, after the problem becomes acute, then they look for an answer, by which time it's too late already. Did you all hear that the Selangor government issued a circular that says they're going to impose a freeze on service apartments in Selangor? Yes, you all know this? This freeze should have been imposed 3 years ago, before the problem became so acute. And the ringgit depreciation. So what we need now, we don't need any more cooling measures, because any more cooling measures will be frozen. So we need now to have some measures that will boost the economy. So this was what the respondents answered to, and when they were asked where to invest, you would find it very strange that the vast majority named Penang as their number one investment destination, and everything else fell further. Kuala Lumpur, the CBD and Golden Triangle fell to 4th place, and Kota Kinabalu for the first time made an appearance. Where the people from Sabah make some noise? Make some noise. Yeah. So we are hopeful that Kota Kinabalu will go upwards a little bit by next year's survey. Good to know that Kuala Lumpur was in top position in 2015, but has now dropped to 4th position in 2016. So I think other destinations are becoming a little bit more attractive. I'm not sure whether politics has anything to do with it, or whether it's purely a supply and demand situation. I'm really not sure. We need to understand how the market has turned. See, from 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, the market went mad, right? And we had a huge super bull run, what the developers call a super bull run. We need to understand why this happened. I think we have still very high savings rate. Although they say that the income to debt ratio is 84%. That's a lot, which means actually in basic layman terms, it means if you earn 10,000 ringgit, on your first day when you get your salary, 8,400 ringgit gone via hutang. It is left only with 1,600 ringgit to run the rest of the month. So 84% debt ratio, income to debt ratio, that's very scary. Yeah? And I think, I think a lot of that problem is because of the Gen Y. Gen Y, you've got a lot of Gen Y here. So I'm a bit afraid of them because they can run faster than me. The Gen Y, you see what happens is the Gen Y, they spend more than they earn. Don't you think so? Yeah, and it's actually our fault because we teach our children to do that. Say, never mind. We go to the mama shop and drink teh tarik for $1.80, and they go to Starbucks and drink coffee for $13.80, right? Even in my office, I see some of the young girls every day come to the office with a Starbucks cup. And I think to myself, I would never spend 18, 13 ringgit, 14 ringgit on a cup of coffee every single day. Because we got auntie in the office who makes lovely coffee, right, Steven? She makes lovely coffee. And I tell these girls and I say to them, you know what? I know why you are going to the Starbucks to buy the coffee. Because you want to walk around with this Starbucks coffee cup, right? So I gave them a suggestion. Why don't you do this? Buy coffee one time and then the next day wash the cup. Ask auntie to make the coffee, pour it in there and still walk around and no one knows. And the debt ratio will go down. Our demographics are still pretty good. We are still a very young country. Looking at this crowd, it's hard to believe that, but we're still a young country. 70% of all Malaysians are below the age of 50. 70% of all Malaysians are below, 70% of all Malaysians are below the age of 50 years. So that's and 50% of all Malaysians are below the age of 25, actually. So there's a lot of young people who will, grow, form new households and buy new properties. So, and the demand for these new properties, in my opinion, is set to go upwards for at least the next 20 or 25 years until we become a slightly more aging population, and then the market will flatten out like what it does in Japan, right? We have growing affluence. We are now prepared to pay more money for the same thing because it has a bit of look and feel and it's a bit of branding. It's like the ladies who go and buy a handbag, right? To the men, all handbags look the same, right, Jeff? All handbags look the same. So the men cannot understand why you can't buy a $300 handbag. You have to buy a $3,000 handbag. They look the same. Plus, what's the point of buying a $3,000 handbag? The parking ticket you put inside there always lost anyway, you cannot find. So it's very difficult to understand this, but growing affluence has affected the pricing of property. Easy financing. Now it's a bit tough, but a few years ago the banks were fighting over each other to give you loans. So what people used to do was they used to go shopping and horse trade with the banks. They would get BLR -2 here, and then go to the next bank and get BLR -2.1, and then go to the next bank and get BLR -2.2 until they couldn't get it anymore. So financing was very easy. Anybody could buy a property even though you didn't have any visible means of showing how you're going to repay for it. And a lot of the trouble that we are going to face this year and next is going to be a direct cause of this easy financing in the last few years. Our employment rate is very high. From the statistics department, you will see that our unemployment rate is about 3.3%. Right? And this 3.3% really, again, is the Gen Y fellas who try very hard to remain unemployed for as long as possible. They are the experts at not getting a job. All the parents in the room shaking their head like this, and all the young one shaking their head like this. I can see, right? The other trend that has been happening in Malaysia is times are changing, things are changing very, very quickly. Mindsets are changing, everything changing very, very quickly, right? Number one is the increased affluence, where we have more spending power. We are prepared to spend more for the same thing now today. Our styles are changing. A double-story semi-D house that looked really nice 5 years ago now no longer look nice because trends have changed, designs have changed. So it's moving too quickly. Everything is moving too quickly. Our mindsets also have changed, where our parents were perfectly happy buying a single story or a double story house. That's all they wanted. Most middle class families, my parents anyway, the moment they bought a house, that's the same house they live in until today. For 40, 50 years already, stay in the same house. And that was perfectly happy for them. The younger people, now that is no longer so. Another trend, another very obvious trend that has been appearing in the last 2 or 3 years, and we mustn't discount this because this is going to affect how property is sold and how property is priced in the next few years, are these huge iconic developments, right? Now, if you have an iconic development or you have an iconic developer, you're able to sell. If you don't have either one of these, you open your showroom and you wait and 3 people come. Otherwise, people line up over the night, right? A good example, just one example, not the example, is the Pavilion in Kuala Lumpur. They built a fantastic brand name for themselves. All condos around the Bukit Bintang area transact for prices which are 50% of what the Pavilion, the Banyan Tree transacts for. So they are able to command double the price of everything else in the same location because they have built an iconic name for themselves. The Mid Valley is another good example. Condos in Mid Valley can rent for more. Office space in Mid Valley can rent for more than its closest neighbors, which is comparing apple to apple, KL Central. So you find that all of a sudden, an iconic name or an iconic brand is able to get a premium over everyone else. Inner city living has become very popular already. Previously, in the older days, if you are poor, you lived in the city, in one of those flats around the city. And if you're rich, you got into your car and drove home to the suburbs where you lived. 30 years later, that has changed upside down on its head. Now the rich live in the city and the poor get in their car and drive 30, 40 miles away back home. So it's turned topsy-turvy now. When KLCC was built, when all those condos were being built in KLCC 10 years ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago, there was this big worry that who is going to rent all these thousands of units? Where got so many expats want to rent KLCC? All these units are going to remain empty. You Malaysians, you're going to buy it and nobody going to come and live in it. But that's really not true at all, because if you see the composition of people who live in KLCC, only about 40-45% of them are expats. The other 35-40% are actually Malaysians. And the last 20% are Singaporeans who bought KLCC and never move it, just leave it there, with wires hanging there from the ceiling from 10 years ago till now. I don't know why Singaporeans like to do that. Probably it's because their money is 1:3.2 or 3.3 or something. I always find if you want to make the Malaysians laugh, kutuk the Singaporean. And when I go to Singapore, I just kutuk the Malaysian and the Singaporeans will laugh. Singaporeans, do you know the Singaporeans don't know how to laugh at jokes, right? Yeah. Jeff, true Jeff? Singaporeans don't know how to laugh at jokes. I make jokes, nobody laugh. But then when they get fined from me laughing. But when I make jokes about Malaysians, the entire crowd is laughing. But I'm glad only got 2 Singaporeans here today, so I'm okay. But Singaporeans, Singaporeans don't know how to cross road. You all know now. Really, Singaporeans don't know how to cross road. Yeah. I was in Singapore last week. I went to do a talk. I came out of the hotel, I'm wheeling my bag, I just want to give the talk, get on the plane and go. I'm wheeling my bag. Sunday morning in Singapore is like Kuala Lumpur during Hari Raya or Chinese New Year. No people want, right? So I came to the end of the road and there's this crossroads and I'm looking left, right, everywhere, no car, not even one. But I saw this guy standing here and I said to him, come, let's go. He said, cannot, must like mustard green first. I said, no, it's okay, there is nobody. He said, no, cannot like mustard green. So I thought, stupid Singaporean, but I scared also lah. So I wait. Then the light turned green and we both going. I'm rolling my bag along and all along the way I'm looking and there's still no car. And I'm thinking to myself, you Singaporean don't even know how to cross road. Hey, we all in Malaysia, federal highway also we can cross . True or not? Even our dog also can cross. So inner city living has become very popular now, right? Where people are willing to live in the city and instead of living in the suburbs, where last time they never want to live in the city. The best example I can tell you is KLCC, right? Absolutely, the pristine example of inner city living is KLCC, where all the condominiums on the periphery of this Twin Towers and the park has been doing really well and has attracted a lot of Malaysians to live there. Fast-paced growth. The city is growing really fast. If you look at an old Klang Valley map and a new Klang Valley map, it's two different maps. Actually, you think you're in another country because everywhere you go now is Klang Valley. Every place is Damansara. Sungai Buloh also become Damansara. Segambut become Montiara. This place Kampung Kerinci Dalam. Bangsasau. You're right. So I live in I live in Sungai Long, and I'm sick and tired of saying Sungai Long, Kajang. So I am going to rename Sungai Long KLCC South. Right? Rural to urban migration. If you notice, and you will see this during festive holidays, Chinese New Year, Hari Raya holidays, you will find that KL empties out. Because KL is a city of migrants actually. Nearly everybody who lives in KL does not belong to KL. They belong in other parts of the country. These guys are the real pendatang. Yeah, they are the real pendatang. They come to KL. Yeah? So migration, rural to urban migration is causing the city to grow at a very fast pace. Modern concept buildings now have taken over already. It's no longer any use for you to just build an office building or a home or a bungalow. You have to now have a concept to the whole thing. And this is not only causing costs to go up, but it's also causing prices to escalate really high upwards, right? Branding and integration becomes everything. Integration is where, previously when you have a complex which is residential and commercial in nature, it always fails one. Best example I can think of is the old Wisma Stevens that had a shopping center at the bottom and condos at the top. And it was a failure. It was a great development, but it was never really worked because somehow Malaysians didn't like this integration. But now today, integration is everything already. I think SP Setia coined it, live, work and play. And now all developments are trying to somehow incorporate this in. So now every developer wants to be slightly better than the earlier one. So now live, eat, work, play, sleep, everything they add, the sentence become very long already. So this integration now becomes the in thing. And the newest in thing, of course, is everybody is trying to integrate a MRT station into their development. That seems to be, if you get that, then your property value shoots through the roof. Right? Good examples of these are the W Hotel and even the Four Seasons Hotel and Residences, which is at KLCC, where they have a retail lot, they have one tower which is office, they have another tower which is half hotel, half service apartment. So everything integrated into one. This seems to be the way to go. Comprehensive facilities is absolutely a must. Now you can never sell anything without facilities anymore. Until now, the developers now are fighting over each other. You drive along the federal highway, you can see big signboard. Now they count already. They say 30 facilities, 70 facilities, 90 facilities. So facilities become the number of facilities you have becomes a huge plus point for you. Gated and guarded, of course, absolutely is a must already. None of you will ever buy a property, a home anymore if it's not gated and guarded. Although the police constantly remind us that there's no crime in Malaysia and crime is on its way down, right? They tell us this all the time. I didn't say, you read in the newspapers, and they always say that it's a perception problem. Crime is not really rising, it's a perception problem. So if after this convention, when you all go to the car park and you find your car is not there anymore, don't worry, it's only your perception. Access to amenities now becomes important. The average home buyer is not just asking you, do you have tennis court and do you have gym and do you have a swimming pool? They're asking you how close is the LRT station, how close is the hospital, how close is the school, how close is the college, how close is the shopping center. So access to amenities becomes a big factor in a purchase decision now. Distance is going to be the next big thing. As properties in KL become more and more affordable, we have to accept the fact we stop complaining. Tell your customers and your clients, stop complaining. Life is like that. Just accept it. You complain also, price is not going to go down. Learn how to live further and further away. Distance is going to be the next big thing in property investment. KL has no choice, right? The city is expanding really fast. And there are a lot of out-of-towners is people outside, people come, a lot of out-of-towners coming into the city every day, making it more crowded and making the borders grow bigger and bigger. Wasn't there one minister who some weeks ago said, all you outside people from all the kampongs are coming into KL and putting a lot of pressure on the infrastructure, why don't you all just go back to your kampongs, right? You all read that? Yeah, only in Malaysia. So out-of-towners, hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands of them coming in all the time. These are out-of-the-towners. These are the 1.5 million Bangladeshis we are bringing in next month. They all got onto the same train. Right? So the truth of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen. People will need to get used to living further and further away. Inner city and close suburbs have become and will continue to become too expensive and unaffordable to the large middle class. So, okay, enough of data, enough of analysis, enough of everything. They brought me up here, I think, to ask me, you've been practicing 30 years, what's your gut feel? Do you all want to know what my gut feel is? Yes? Answer, if not, go down already. Yes? Okay, you want to know what my gut feel is? So what's the real score? Don't ask me, I don't know. Only this guy knows what the real score is. He knows everything. He's very clever. You know, he made a spectacle of himself in the airport, right? The whole world laughed at us, huh? And he went and looked through his bamboo and he said, he knows where MH370 is. And he, very clever, he said, the plane is either in the air, on the land, or in the sea. So he covered everything. So no matter where you find the plane, he said, I told you. So Jeff, if your Singapore agents want to know what's the future, we are happy to lend him to you. No need to pay, just take. But only one condition, don't let him come back. Okay, so what should you do? What should you do? Number one, control your emotion. Don't worry, don't panic. Don't be scared that things are going to go bad. Oh, die, estate agent going to die, estate agent going to die. Don't worry. You know, no such thing one. It's okay. We will never die. Whichever way the market move also is alright. We are like lalang. We move this way and we move this way. Huh? So it's okay. Watch out for analysis that contradict each other, and you're getting a lot of that analysis now, because today you read the papers, it says one thing, tomorrow you read the papers, it says something. Be very cautious when analysts contradict each other every single day. When so-called experts give you different opinions, be very cautious. Be careful of huge short-term gains. You know, sometimes you buy a property for 650,000 and then in 6 months it's worth 850,000 and you're really happy. It's great. But I tell you, what rises up so fast, so sharply, will probably slam dunk equally fast. And bad luck means could be that you're holding it at the time that it went down. Yeah, so be careful of short-term gains. Read between the lines. Always be careful when you see an advertisement by a developer or a estate agent, also estate agent more. Be very careful when you see these advertisements and so-called claims, because there may be hidden meanings behind it. Yeah, so always read between the lines. For example, they say to you, it's in a quiet neighborhood. Quiet neighborhood. True also what? True what? Nobody talking. Then sometimes they say it's a great property for do it yourself. So you visualize yourself, oh, do it yourself, and then this is what you get. Then they tell you easy access to amenity, everything very near one. The shop all near, shopping center very near. This is your house. Then you guess, oh, this house comes with a water feature. Right? Then they say privacy ensured. Then you get something like this. So you've got to be very careful to read between the lines. Hey, some of it is just joke only, you know. Organic, I like this term, organic growth versus orgasmic growth. Yeah, so the organic growth is the slow, steady growth over many years. And we prefer this slow and steady growth because when good times come by, we have a nice healthy growth, and when bad time comes, it doesn't crash and burn altogether. But this orgasmic growth that shoot upwards during bad times, I think if the market turns, there's a chance that these will crash. And if it's your bad luck, that's when you're holding it. Yeah? Be prepared to move further away, and be prepared to advise your clients to also be prepared to move further away. You don't have a choice already, right? Challenge the norms. What is unappealing today may become very appealing tomorrow, and what is appealing today may become unappealing tomorrow. So if you constantly challenge the norms, you'll always be 1 or 2 steps ahead of the pack. You can buy something today that will become really exciting in the next few years. Opportunities in adversity. So where are they? Nobody knows this better than you guys. Every single one of you is practicing, so you know this as well as I do, or even more. So what are these opportunities? I think, in my mind, one of the most undervalued properties in this country today is the KLCC and its environs. I cannot believe that we have a world-class city center with the iconic Twin Towers and the 50-acre park, and we are selling our condos for 1,500 ringgit per square feet. There are some condos around there that sell for 800 ringgit per square feet. You know, I cannot believe that a property in KLCC should be cheaper per square feet than a property in KK or Sri Lanka, Colombo. I can't believe this. Yeah? So I think KLCC is grossly undervalued. I think there is a huge upward trend, positive trend available in KLCC. Some of the other growth corridors, to me, in my mind, I think are north towards Rawang. You know, Bukit Beruntung, everybody said Bukit Beruntung prices all dropped. Some people I know bought apartment in Bukit Beruntung for cash. You know how much? 9,000 ringgit only. But those 9,000 ringgit properties have appreciated 100%. They are now transacting at about 20,000 ringgit a square feet. A unit. So Bukit Beruntung at that time was so far away, nobody wants to live. My opinion is Rawang and north of Rawang is going to get very exciting in the next few years. South, I think we should be prepared to go as far as Seremban already. It's alright. 100,000 people or more travel from Seremban to KL every single day. It's absolutely fine. Eco World launched their houses in Semenye, right? Semenye, you know where is Semenye? Nobody else does either. Semenye, sometimes handphone also no service one, right? Eco World launched Eco Majestic, right? And it sold out in one weekend. Saturday, by Sunday, it was completely sold out. So people are excited and they don't mind living further away because location, that mantra is gone. I don't think location is everything anymore. I think connectivity is. Right? West, I think towards Port Klang. I think towards Port Klang, that corridor, because the MRT is now going, I think that corridor is going to boom, a huge boom in those 3 corridors. I think we spend too much of time and effort investing in residential. And unfortunately, that is because there really are very few asset classes that an investor can invest in. I think we should open our minds and broaden our horizon and start investing in many, many different things. Yeah? And I think commercial, shop houses, shop offices, and the small strata office, like what MIA has in 32 Square, that kind of strata offices, I think over the next few years will continue to do well. They won't see spectacular growth, but they won't see spectacular falls either. You will have a steady growth, and once you get your tenants in there, chances are your tenants will stay longer term than a house where they'll leave after 1 year or 2 years. So industrial, I think, is really blue chip. We don't see industrial coming down at all, and I haven't seen it, and I don't think I will see it again either. So I think industrial is a blue chip investment, and land. Land is, of course, they don't make them anymore. That's not true. In Malaysia, we can create land. We throw sand into the sea and make island, right? So there's going to be 3 islands, 3 huge islands, 4,000 acres in Penang, and another 4 islands, 3,600 acres in Johor, the forest city thing. Yeah? So once the forest city has been built, Malaysia is here, Singapore is there. Jeff, I'll just walk across the road, have coffee with you, and just walk across the sea back again because it's only 3 feet deep. So land, I think, is always a good buy. So, in my opinion, this is what will happen in the next few years. I think the economy will remain stable. I don't think there's going to be terrible upheavals in the Malaysian economy. I think it will remain stable, but I think it will be purely domestic consumption. It is my opinion that the FDIs into Malaysia will continue to dwindle and become slower, because I think if you are a foreigner, you would be worried about investing in Malaysia now. You would be worried about the political system, the legal system, and all kinds of things. And I know some of the multinational companies, when they come into Malaysia, they sign contracts with their suppliers and their business partners, and in the contracts there's always a clause that says any disputes will be settled in a court of law in Singapore. David, have you seen this? It's very shameful for us that Masaleh said, if I have trouble with you, I don't want to settle in Malaysia, you sure win. Let's go to Singapore and settle it, where I have a chance of winning. Yeah? My opinion is residential terrace houses and semi-D houses will still continue to be the #1 bestseller. This is still the goreng pisang of the property world. Yeah? The market has been shifting. Earlier was the primary market. The developers could sell anything at any price and people bought them. And then suddenly in 2014, 2013, it shifted to the secondary market, and we're all very happy. The developer cannot sell anything anymore already, so we're all quite happy. But now I see that it's shifting back again. So the market's just going back and forth, and we can't stop it. I'm saying that there are still relatively cheaper properties in the suburbs, so be prepared to move further away. Right? First quarter, second quarter 2015, the market was terrible. We all expected it because we thought, okay, the first 3 months before GST, nobody wanted to buy anything. Everybody buried their head in the sand like ostrich. And after GST, it take 2-3 months to get used to the GST, and then we will see some uptrend in the property market. But unfortunately, Q3 and Q4, which we thought perhaps would improve a bit, did not improve because we didn't realize that the Wall Street Journal was going to use July to publicize everything about Malaysia. So that political situation came and took over the economic perceived recovery in the economic sector. So unfortunately now that also did not happen. But it's not all bad. Although things look bad now, it's not going to be this way. Everything is a cycle. You know it as well as I do. The property market is a cycle. And if you really analyze the market, you will find that during an uptrend, the property market goes on an uptrend for 3 to 4 years, And on a downtrend, it's on a downtrend for about 1 to 2 years, and then it's on an uptrend again for 3 or 4 years. So the uptrends always trump the downtrend, so it's not so bad. Let's just ride out this storm, and then the good times will come back again. I believe that 2016 will see the market finding its level. Whatever you're feeling now is a knee-jerk reaction on it. It's a knee-jerk reaction to the 1MDB scenario. It's a knee-jerk reaction to the political donation scenario, the oil price slump, and the run on the ringgit. These four things has created this problem. And I feel that the market has reacted in a knee-jerk manner, and I believe that 2016 will see that knee-jerk reaction subsiding a little bit, and the market is will find its level. Will it go up? I don't think so. It probably will bottom out a little bit more. So I think there is still a little bit of downside left to the market, but I do not think it will be as spectacularly down as 2015. I think 2015 will, when we look back in the future, 2015 will be the period where prices and volume and value went down the most. 2017 and 2018, in my opinion, the market will flatten out and begin a slow climb. Not very exciting, but still it will move into positive territory. And my opinion is 2019, it will start picking again, and 2020 we will see the next high. This is my opinion, right? 2018 is a watershed year because it's the general election year, and don't worry, all the political problems that you have will be solved because they will win in spectacular fashion, and there will be a semblance of settlement in the market, and then the business will carry on. 2019, I think it will start going up, with 2020 being the next market high. Thank you very much.